To see the world reinvent itself so many times was something he saw as both a blessing and a curse. To watch as humanity flourished in some ways and clashed brutally in others, we found new meaning as a species and made breathtaking discoveries. But all of our advancements came at a cost. Would we ever truly be satisfied, or would our ambition only grow further? Our present feels just as confusing as the past, and our future feels more uncertain than it ever has.
The most powerful AI tools really do allow you to transport the viewer to any time or place you choose. And today we'll explore the Hailuo tool suite to create images, animate them, and add sound design using MiniMax audio. We'll cover the entire AI filmmaking process from start to finish to test out just how much we can achieve within Hailuo AI. If you do enjoy today's video, guys, make sure to whack a like on there for me, consider subscribing, and of course, ring that bell notification icon so you never miss any future videos. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So the first step in our AI filmmaking journey is image creation, where we're going to be generating the starting frames used for each individual scene for our intro cinematic. And if we head over to Premiere Pro, you can see we've kind of done some time traveling ourselves, because the final two scenes, the present day scene as well as the futuristic scene, are missing because I haven't actually created them yet. I've saved that to record this video so I can take you guys through the process. And the same workflow we're going to apply to these two missing scenes is what I use to create every scene before it. Now, for starters, we're over on the Hailuo AI agent, and this is quite a cool tool in itself. So over on the right hand side here, we have a chat window, and this kind of functions like any other LLM. And as I'm sure you've guessed, this allows you to talk to the Hailuo agent and ask it to do things like generate you images using Nano Banana. And over on the left-hand side here, and a feature that I think is really quite cool, we have this kind of blank space, which is referred to as the canvas. And what happens is anytime we generate an image using this chat window on the right, it's going to be populated within the canvas. And you can see I've started to lay out all of my images for the intro cinematic as if it's a kind of storyboard. And this allows you to see how your idea is coming together in real time, and you have a point of comparison between our very different scenes. We're able to check to make sure that that consistency is there, but also that each individual frame is visually striking enough to grab the audience's attention. And you can see for some scenes, we've only generated 2 images because that's all we needed to do. As you guys know, with AI, there is trial and error involved. So some scenes take more generations to find what you're after, especially if, like me, maybe you don't know exactly what you want from Nano Banana. So it takes a little bit of rerunning the same prompt or making slight tweaks throughout the process. But like I said, we have all of our images leading up to the kind of 1980s sequence, all to do with bringing home a personal computer for the first time, that huge technological leap which is of massive historical importance. And what we want to do is have a stark contrast now by cutting across to the present day. So I've just entered the text prompt for our present day starting frame generation. And something else that I really like about the Hailuo AI agent is we're able to say something like, please generate me 4 Nano Banana generations using the prompt below. So you can specify how many times you want the Hailuo agent to run the same prompt. And for the text prompt itself, we've said a bearded man looking stressed, walking through modern day London. Wearing a black suit, he is wearing Apple AirPod headphones and has his Apple iPhone in his hand. Cold aesthetic, cinematic lighting, ultra detailed, photorealistic. And we can go down to this little icon here and upload our reference image. I have this one of myself without my glasses and cap. The reason I did this is because I'm referencing time periods where these things just didn't exist, and I wanted to have a really nice level of facial consistency for myself across the different time periods, even when we did move on to the parts of history where caps and glasses existed. I just wanted to really make my face very consistent throughout to sell the idea and ensure that the concept came across well to the viewer. And so we can send off these generations now and see what we get back. And you can now see that the canvas has been populated with our new generations. So we can click on each one and go on this little icon here to full screen them. And straight away, Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Let's look at all of them though to make sure we find the one that we like the very most. And just a tip, guys, make sure that the reference image you upload is of the aspect ratio you want Hailuo to generate for you using Nano Banana. It's always going to default to a 1:1 aspect ratio, so I gave it a 16:9 because of course that's what we want for our use case. Now I really like this first generation here. I also really like this one where I'm looking down at my phone. Both of them do exactly what I imagine, and don't worry, by the way, we can go ahead and download these without the watermarks baked in. We just go over to this download icon and click the without watermark option. My preference is actually this one where I'm looking down at my phone, but my slight concern is that when we go to animate this using Hailuo 2, their AI video generator, the AI does not actually know how my eyes look. And so there's going to be an element of guesswork for the model. And this is the kind of thing that you want to think about before you run your generations. This starting frame, it could work really well, but it depends on our output. I think essentially our backup is going to have to be this one here. And the reason for that is because it's given us a very clear, realistic and consistent generation of my face. So it can't really go wrong, but I think we'll generate both. Now we've gone ahead and filled out the chat window with our next and final text prompt. Once again, we're asking Hailuo to generate 4 variations through Nano Banana. And the text prompt this time says, a bearded man wearing a hoodie stands in a futuristic city whilst it's raining. Blade Runner inspired. Slightly cold and dystopian, cinematic composition, visible skin texture, gritty, ultra detailed, photo realistic. So let's go ahead and run that prompt and see what results we get back. Okay, we've got our Blade Runner inspired generations back, and once again, these are exactly what I was after. Really cinematic, and they do have that kind of gritty, futuristic neon vibe going on. Now I just want to go ahead and run the same prompt again with a slight variation just to really sell the idea that this is set in the future. All I've done is added this short sentence here which says flying hover cars behind him. So we'll send off that generation and see what we get back. I just really want to make it clear to the viewer that we are not in present day. I want some futuristic tech that just doesn't exist nowadays. Perfect. So you can see from the latest batch of generations that we now have some flying cars behind me. I personally really like this generation here. It really does have a great likeness with me as well. Just imagine me without my glasses and cap on. Taking a look at the last one here. Don't like this quite as much. I think having the hood on just really adds some drama to the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and click the download without watermark option. And now we have our remaining starting frames generated. We have 2 different options when it comes to present day me walking through London. We have this one where I'm looking forward and you can clearly see my face, which is the safer option. And then we have this one where I'm looking down at my phone. My preferred option, I just kind of like the composition a little bit more. And then of course we have the final ending frame, this very dystopian, futuristic look, very Blade Runner inspired, and a very striking way to finish our short film. So with that, heading back to the Hailuo AI agent, we can go to the top left hand corner and click back. And now over on the top left, you can see the option to go across to the video tab. So we'll click into here and you can see a whole load of amazing video generations. I really love Hailuo 2. This is their latest AI video generation model. My favorite thing is its generations are very cinematic and they're consistent as well. And by that, I mean you don't need to run the same text prompts over and over and over again. You can see a lot of the time, I've only had to run it a couple of times. Generally speaking, as we scroll through, you can see I'm getting the results I'm after very quickly. And what does that mean? We spend less credits and then everyone's happy, right? So with that being said, we can now go ahead and generate the videos for our last remaining 2 scenes. Now, in terms of each shot, I've tried to mix up the camera moves. So the first shot has this kind of dolly camera move in, then we go to static, dolly camera move, static, dolly, static, just to add some variation in there. So our 1980s video has a dolly move, so we know that we want this to be static. And we'll have to see how this turns out actually, because I'm walking through London, so we might have to do like a kind of tracking shot or something. But you know what, let's go ahead and test it out and see what kind of results we get. So if I open up my downloads, I can drag and drop in our first option for me walking through London, looking very stressed in the present day. Pretty accurate, I've got to say, apart from the suit. You don't often see me wearing a suit. And we'll just go for a pretty basic prompt. Static camera. The bearded man walks through busy central London looking stressed. We can also select the output resolution. Because we're generating in 1080p, we can only go up to 6 seconds in length, but this is still fine for our use case. If we drop down to 768p, we can go all the way up to 10 seconds, but I want the maximum resolution. I know that my clips are going to be short, so I want them to look really crisp. And on the bottom right hand side, you can see there's an option to have your prompt enhanced. Generally, I leave this on. Usually I don't for a lot of other AI tools, but Hailuo seems to do pretty good by leaving this on, so I'd suggest you guys do too. Of course, experimenting with on and off is always a good option as well. So we'll hit generate on that one there. I'm also going to set off one which is a tracking camera move. So we'll click generate on that. And I'm going to drag and drop in our alternative generation. And I've just added a little bit on the end of this text prompt here. So in full, it says the bearded man walks through busy central London, looking stressed, looking down at his phone, because we don't really want him to look up, because like I said before, the AI model doesn't actually know what my eyes look like or what my face looks like when it's completely raised to the camera. So if it tries to generate that, things might get a little bit off. So we'll go ahead and generate that one there. You can see we've got multiple generations all happening at the same time, and our prompt is being optimized with this top one here. It's a pretty quick process, and I do find that it tends to help with the consistency of your generations. And we can drop in our final Blade Runner inspired frame as well. You also see that we have an option for a start and end frame, where Hailuo 2 would try to blend the two together with a transition. This is a pretty cool thing to experiment with as well, but again, not really what we want for this particular use case. And for the text prompt, we're going to go for slow dolly camera move in. The bearded man stares silently forward without talking. Heavy rain, flying cars behind him. We'll hit generate on that. And I think I might also try out a static camera option as well, just to hedge my bets a little bit. Okay, so we now have our Hailuo video generations back, and it's done a great job, as I predicted. Opening up the first shot here, this was our static camera option. You can see that I'm not walking, so it's not really giving me what I wanted. This is my fault though. I kind of already knew that saying static camera wouldn't really work, but if we go back and check out our tracking camera option, this is exactly what I wanted, and I end up looking down anyway, so it kind of covers both bases. And we also have our third option. Just look how dynamic this is. Look how much the shot changes and how much of London it shows. Insane. We're going to try out both of these within the edit and see which one works better. And now I'm excited to show you guys this. We have our Blade Runner generations. We'll start with my least favorite one, which is the static camera. Little bit lifeless. Again, that's my fault. Static camera just doesn't work as well when it comes to this type of shot, I suppose. But if we go and take a look at the slow dolly camera move in, this is exactly what we wanted. This is the result we need, and we're going to end the short film on a real high. And you can tell very clearly that this is set in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these downloaded without our watermarks on there. Of course, we don't really want that when it comes to our AI filmmaking. So we've now added our new generations to finish off the film. We've got the present day shot as well as our futuristic shot. And I've also added a couple of audio layers as well. We've got some music and some sound effects. So let's just go ahead and watch that through in its current state. So you can see that everything is working really nicely. But we're kind of missing something. What we need is a really powerful narration or voiceover to help tell our story and to really sell the concept. And now to do this, we're going to head over to minimax.io/audio. And you can see we've got a few different options here when it comes to voices. We've got voice isolator, voice clone, and what we're really interested in is voice design. We can also go across to explore more and we can check out their existing library of voices, and there are some really great ones in here for all sorts of different use cases. Let's just check out some of these. So mature partner.
We need to approach this situation with both wisdom and understanding.
Captivating storyteller.
Picture this: moonlight, ancient castle, and a mystery waiting to be solved.
I really like this graceful lady one. It doesn't work for our concept, but it feels very kind of cozy and almost like reassuring as well. You can see you can access a library and find a voice that fits any kind of mood you're after, really.
There's something lovely in the quiet bits. The soft breeze dancing through leaves. The delicate tinkle of Chinese tea is served.
And you can see as well, if we head over to voice design, we can actually enter a text prompt to specify the type of voice that we'd like to generate. Heading back to my voice library, you can actually see some of those that I've already created. So we've got the weathered night, which is really cool.
Was something he saw as both a blessing and a curse.
The reserved scientist voice I really liked as well. Honestly, I just put in the kind of vibe that I was after, and MiniMax Audio just gave me back some really great generations. Let's take a listen to this one.
To see the world reinvent itself so many times.
And you can see I'm testing the lines that we used in the final intro cinematic to see which ones suited the story itself better. I really liked Gruff Man as well.
To see the world reinvent itself so many times.
But what we actually ended up going for was this one here called Audiobook.
See the world reinvent itself so many times.
So if we wanted to go ahead and make a generation using this voice, we can go ahead to the Use tab and click that. We can add whatever speech we want inside of this box here. And you can see as well that we've got a fair few options over on the right hand side. You can get really technical if you want and go into the voice modifier section. We can look at deepening the voice, lightening it, making it stronger or softer, more nasally or more crisp. You can even add some effects like spacious echo, auditorium echo, lo-fi telephone, and robotic. And heading back over here, we can even pick an emotion. So it can be automatic, happy, sad, angry, disgusted, surprised, or even neutral. We can mess around with the speed, the pitch, and the volume. So there are a lot of parameters here. You can get a good result straight away, to be fair, but if you want to be really nitpicky and design it exactly as you imagine, you have the option to do that. So let's go ahead and generate using the final voice that we picked.
To see the world reinvent itself so many times.
So I thought there was something very kind of haunting about this voice, and it just suited the concept itself really nicely. I did try out quite a few different voices on the timeline to see what I liked more. There's a lot of good options, to be honest with you. As you guys saw, there's a very varied library here on MiniMax Audio. So I recommend when it comes to your own AI filmmaking, you take your time with it, test out a whole bunch and find exactly what it is that you're after. So of course we ended up going ahead and generating the passage of speech that you hear in the final intro cinematic. And if we head back over to our Premiere Pro timeline, I can unmute this track and we can watch the final film in all of its glory, and you can see how the emotion comes through in the voiceover. It really does feel like an actual voice actor is delivering the lines. And of course it goes ahead and takes our AI filmmaking to the next level. It doesn't just help to tell a story, it presents a certain tone as well. It does really feel quite haunting, which is exactly what I was going for. We now have the combination of music, sound effects, and voiceover right at the forefront of the mix. Let's take a listen.
To see the world reinvent itself so many times was something he saw as both a blessing and a curse. To watch as humanity flourished in some ways and clashed brutally in others, we found new meaning as a species and made breathtaking discoveries. But all of our advancements came at a cost. Would we ever truly be satisfied, or would our ambition only grow further? Our present feels just as confusing as the past, and our future feels more uncertain than it ever has.
So there you guys go, you can see just how much is possible to create solely using Hailuo AI. And I like to hand on this type of workflow to you guys because I know it can be a little bit frustrating chopping and changing between lots of different AI tools and platforms. This is a great one for you to check out. If you do have any questions at all, make sure to drop them down below in the comment section. I try my absolute best to respond to as many of you guys as I possibly can. If you've enjoyed today's content, make sure to whack a like on there for me. Consider subscribing and of course, ring that bell notification icon so you never miss any future videos because we're exploring all sorts of exciting AI tools in the coming weeks. Appreciate all the love and support on the latest videos, guys. Have a great day and I'll catch you in the next one.